Welcome to Storytelling with Lindsay Bednar. We feel like she should pick it up because the whole setup thing is always a bit cringe.
And you can't not find facts or information because it's literally everywhere right now. Did it blow up because that they're going to be in the Super Bowl or?
Well, that's the question. So I want to know your take because I'm getting opinions from all different sides and people feel so strongly about this. And I think it's funny because there are a zillion things going on right now that we could all be having like hyper focus on and are have tense conversations about like what's going on at the border in Texas and like that's a whole thing, but nobody's talking about that. Everybody wants to talk about Trav and the Swifties. So here we are. We're going to jump on the bandwagon, and there. I've been
Well,
going deep down many different rabbit holes and lots of opinions. So yeah, what's
I
it
have
take?
been riding shotgun to this bandwagon from day one. And I am
Oh,
all like, love.
your Swiftiness goes back that far, you mean?
I don't know if it's the Swiftiness. I'm just into this whole love story.
Mm,
And I've seen some of the opinions on it. I didn't know that they were so strong until recently, though.
okay, so tell me what you love about their love story.
Um,
Crawl into that. Let me crawl into that cute little
I don't
brain.
know. Where do I begin?
Little
Where do
brain.
I
Little
begin?
brain. Sorry.
Well, just like the guilty pleasure of watching The Bachelor, of just
For
you
sure.
feel like you're being taken on the journey of this love story because you thought the first time she went to the game was, one of their first dates. I haven't listened to any podcasts or any background information of how they originally got together, but you're kind of watching it evolve, and there's something captivating about that. And again, I'm here for it. I also love the safetiness that I feel like he provides. I was telling Nick, like, she has stalkers all over her. I mean, she's got security everywhere. And here is this big guy. She probably feels so secure and taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, she lives alone with her cats, if I'm correct. So probably not the best security. And yeah, I mean, he's a big football player. Like, going back to one of her first songs and her You Belong With Me, like the whole video, I think about that when I see the
Mhm.
two of them because, he's this football star and she's this low blonde. Okay, so you're swept up in the love story. And as somebody who also guilty pleasure watches The Bachelor or Bachelorette with Gary, sorry, Gary, threw you under the bus, but we watch it together. um, I mean, I can appreciate a cheesy love story for sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's authentic? Like you're in it?
I'm in it. I want to believe that it's real.
Yeah.
I will be sad either way if it's real or fake and they break up. But this is another whole topic of the skepticism everybody has around a lot of things. Is the NFL real or is it scripted? Is this love story or couple real or scripted? What we're seeing on the news, is it real? Like, there's so much skepticism that it's a good conversation to have if you're trusting is that to be naive.
For sure. I think there is definitely the two sides of the coin. One, there are a lot of people who have absolutely no skepticism from what they're being told in the news and in the media, and pretty naive. Like you're cute, but there's a lot of bias, a lot of lies going on. And then there's the other total side where you're skeptical of everything. Everything's a conspiracy. Like I get it. We have to live somewhere in between. And there are a lot of things that are pointing to like, mm, the hair is raising up in the back of my neck. Like, I'm not sure. Wait, do I have hair on the back of my neck? That's not right.
I imagined my dog, but you probably do. Yeah.
Bad analogy. So my hairy neck is like
Gross. No, gross.
it's
Mm.
like, this isn't right. Um,
Give yourself a sexier analogy. Like, oh, and I get like a little delicate goosebump dimples.
yeah, okay. So I get the I get the goosebumps. Guys, I don't have a hairy neck. Um, and now I'm gonna be replaying that in my head. So thanks for that. Uh,
That's all I'm
actually,
seeing.
in my defense, I do think that is the saying, hair in the back of your neck. But
I think it is too. I didn't think too much of it.
hopefully, hopefully I don't have a hairy neck. Okay, so
I'll look now.
first things first. Um, do you know how much he was paid out by Pfizer for doing those commercials?
No,
$20 million,
that
which,
doesn't surprise me.
if my records are accurate, that is more than he makes in the NFL um, per year, or whatever, however.
Isn't that normal though for people to make significant amount more with endorsements?
For sure. But so let me just add up a few of these things, which is giving people like pause. So he makes 20 million from Pfizer. Pfizer is the biggest advertiser on pretty much every mainstream media thing, every channel, every whatever. Okay, well, they just did a analysis of how much the NFL has made since Taylor Swift's first appearance at the Chiefs game, and it is 33. Wait, no, 330
66.
million dollars.
Wow.
So a lot of
Okay.
people could say, okay, well, that's her star power. Like that's what she does. She's got zillions of fans, and that's just to be expected. You're going to have a whole
She's
bunch
got
of
the Midas touch,
right.
right? Turns
Yeah,
into gold.
totally get that. And uh, you can make the argument as to, okay, these people are um, being very much propped up, and there's a lot of money to be made and benefited from their courtship. That so I think one of the biggest reasons people think is scripted is because of the money, which again can go either way. Like that can just be happy coincidence, or it can be like, well, that's a little shitty.
The money for who? For like Taylor Swift doesn't need any more. You talking about money for the NFL?
For
Money
the
for
NFL,
Pfizer?
for the NFL, for yeah, for this whole union and how the commercials and her being at the games has brought in a lot of money.
Yeah, no doubt. She's going to do that wherever she goes. Whoever she's going to date, she's just going to bring in that group, that the money. Like I said, she's the Midas touch. Not everything she has turns to gold. Would this look different if she
There are
was dating somebody from, like the Carolina Panthers, one of the lower performing teams of the NFL? Is this because of the partnership?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said that for two reasons. One, Pfizer's not the only one he's doing commercials for. He's doing commercials for all
Yeah,
kinds of things. So he's like really, propped up there.
he's
You can
everywhere.
say, well, he's like, yeah, he's like a star and she's a star. That makes sense. Um, but have you looked at his relationship history?
Yes.
Because I dug, and
Yeah, you don't have to dig real far.
no, you don't. I mean, Google search, but this is the first white woman that he's dated, I think, like ever. And
Come on.
yeah,
Come on.
yes, it is.
No, I know. No, I hear that. I hear that.
Okay, so you
Um,
can't go ahead.
I don't I don't I don't believe in that because I also had a type at one time in my life where you had to be over 6 feet before I would date you. And once I found somebody under, 5'6", I was like, never mind. Maybe this is my type. Those can change. That
Sure.
certainly can shift.
Yep, they can change. And
And she is captivating. She's captivating by her ambition, her drive. I mean, that's why her fans adore her, is that she creates an energy of such an opportunity that I think would be a magnet for anybody.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, isolated, sure. Can somebody change their preference? Absolutely. You can date all black women from the history of the time you started dating, which I don't know if it goes that far, but publicly, that's what his track record is. And then you can pick the most white corn-fed, Nashville country now pop singer there is. Sure, absolutely. You can do that. And if you put these all these things together, then it starts to make a bit of a head scratcher. There's Oh, and then the other part that people are so like, okay, this is propped up, um, is because she endorses the Democratic Party and specifically Biden. So everything in the media seems to back the Democratic Party. Like you can go on any show and it's like, other than your Fox or your I don't know, is that the only one? Oh,
Obvious one.
yeah. Um, but otherwise, it's pretty left leaning, right? Um, so she's not only endorsed the Democratic Party and they pretty much control the media, but she's endorsed Biden. And I don't know really any Democrats right now who are endorsing Biden. I mean, he can't make out a sentence. So the fact that she's endorsing him, people are like, wait a second. Okay. Like, I get it. Like, you can have whatever political affiliation you want, but like, why this? And then both he and Gavin Newsom name dropped her randomly. It was like so fit into their speeches uh, in the last several months. Biden
Mm-hmm.
actually screwed it up. He called her Brittany, talked about her tour when she was in Brazil. So didn't even get it right, but that's no surprise.
Oh,
So
I
it's
think
like,
Britney Spears
why?
happened.
Yeah. Why are they uh, bringing her into the mix? Why does anybody care that she's endorsing Biden? Uh, One of these things isolated, sure, that's just coincidental, whatever. You put them all together, and it's like, okay, this is a little much.
Okay. Taylor Swift, I feel like, has made it her career. The foundation of her songs has been pulling, seeing what's behind the curtain, seeing, what people can't see, whether that was about, some pop culture and friendships, really exposing things, whether she should or shouldn't have relationships, situations. Why would they have chosen her? And we can go into her influence here in a second. If she's notorious for really exposing what's going on underneath the surface.
Oh, see, I disagree. I can't think of anything she's exposed other than, to me, she completely buys into the narrative, whatever the narrative may be, endorses what all the celebrities are supposed to endorse. Like if you look up any famous person, and what their affiliation is, there's such a few that are on the other side because of the pressure to lean left
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. So, I mean, exposing things. I don't know about her ex-boyfriends. What else she exposed? And by the
Uh,
way, let me just make this clear. Like, I love Taylor. I went to her concert, best concert I have ever seen. And we've seen Hall and Oates at Red Rocks. Like we've seen some big concerts. And so some people probably hear that and be like, well, that's embarrassing. Like, no,
no.
it is an experience. It is like she does take you on this journey. You can't leave there without like falling in love with her, all her music, being a part of that group. So I get why people get so defensive over her for sure. But I think you can love someone or love her music or whatever, appreciate who they are, and also be like skeptical of this relationship.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, people are reading into what the relationship is. Let me go back to your question
Yes.
of exposing things. All of her songs typically like have some sort of meaning of something that's happened to her in her life. She's even done some Netflix or HBO series. I can't remember which platform she's done it, where she goes and talks about each one of her songs, why she created, what was influenced by it. There's usually some sort of openness or, like I said, exposure to something that, again, relationships. She's what, 33. That's mostly what's been going on with her. Music industry,
Yeah, but
situations,
that's all
relationships,
personal.
friendships.
The
What?
music industry was Scooter Braun, and the fact that that was a crappy deal. Um,
Right.
the things she exposes in her music are all about her past relationships. Like, I'm not seeing her expose the bias in media or the corruption in politics on either side of the coin. Like, that's not her role, hasn't been her role so far. So
Right, right. I'm not saying that she's dipped into the exposing of worldly events, but that's what her music is. And could it evolve to that? Certainly. Certainly, when
well,
that's
she
just,
could, but like I
but
could
that's what I'm saying. Why would you gamble on a person that they are the writer such a strong influence, when they could pull back the curtain if there was some sort of something corrupt going on. She has a reputation of doing what's right for her. I mean, she sued somebody for grabbing her butt for $1 just to prove a point. She's changing the way music industry is to support some of the artists. She's done stuff to help for the better good, at least from my surface level perspective of her.
Yeah, from my perspective, all of those things are directly about her. And it's not that I get it. Like, she's dealing with the here and now, but I'm not speaking theoretically about who she could become in the future, because these are some of her characteristics. I'm talking about here and now. Right now, she seems completely programmed by what the narrative is and what you're supposed to buy into as a celebrity. And it doesn't help the fact that all of these things point to he is as well. Like, he's Pfizer's poster boy. Well, there's a lot of people that are not happy with big pharma right now, myself included, and she's choosing to be a part of that narrative, whether she understands that or not. There could be just naivety, but so it's rubbing people the wrong way for a myriad of reasons.
And is Pfizer the number one reason?
No, I think it's that uh, people just feel like it's scripted. It doesn't seem it in my gut. It doesn't seem authentic to me. I
Who,
hope.
who are
Listen,
all these love experts that
listen,
like, hey,
listen.
I know how a
I
relationship
hope.
should go.
Yeah,
A
I
kiss should
hope.
be more like this versus this. Come on,
Yeah,
judgy people.
I every time I see them together, it doesn't seem natural to me. I'm surprised it seems natural to you, because you and I typically always agree on stuff and we're aligned. But to me, it's like this this does not feel authentic whatsoever to me. So in addition to all the like information, it just doesn't, like I said, my it made my hairy neck hair stand up.
Quit it. I just got it out of my head. I think she's always excelled at managing the camera and managing her image. I think she's had extraordinary people surrounding her. She's, what Britney Spears could have been if she had the right people to help her manage her PR, her image control. And I would imagine that has to compromise your ability to have a relationship when there's 20 cameras in your face. Am I discreet? Am I just gonna, have a French kiss? I mean, I can imagine that it has some sort of influence on how you respond to that person. When you see her for those brief seconds at the football game, she seems like a genuine girlfriend that is interested in watching her partner succeed. How does that seem inauthentic?
Uh, it's in my gut, in my intuition. I can't, when you get a bad feeling about anybody in something or whatever it is, anybody or any certain thing, it's like you can't necessarily even put your finger on it. It's just like, she's an actress, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I love your hairy neck thermometer, and I'm going to use it next time we go out. How's the server making you feel? Um, I
I
guess
I
if
didn't know you were such a supporter of this relationship. So
well, this is
I'm
why.
also I'm also just sitting back and kind of appreciating this whole. other side of you.
Oh yeah, yeah, it's hot. I'm here for it. Like I said, I'm shotgun in this bandwagon. We have some friends that are in Missouri, and they are just loving this. And so we text, and she's like, I don't know if he's needy or she's needy, but it's hot. And I'm like, it is hot.
Oh my
She's great, and I
God.
see her pretty soon, so we can't wait to talk about it. And
Not
so, of course, they're all about this relationship because I'm sure it's bringing a lot of support for those Kansas City Chiefs. I understand, and this is for both of us, if we have a narrative in our head of like, oh, this looks really authentic and I'm so happy for them. Congrats on this love story. And you're saying, hairs on my neck or standing up. There's something fishy about this. We're going to continue to look and search for those clues to
sure.
validate
That's our
our
built-in
opinion.
algorithm. Just like social media, you're going to gravitate towards the thing that speak to what you're already thinking and feeling. I totally get it, which is why I've been trying to look at both sides and whatever. And one of the arguments that I saw pro this relationship, several people shared it on social media, but they were like, uh, your daughter is watching you. And I think this is directed toward dads. Your daughter is watching you. Actually, let me just pull it up because,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, read it out loud. That's a good one. I
okay.
thought about moms and dads, to be honest.
Oh, um, okay. Well, I got to scroll.
Well, just to not dim a female's light because she's on the
Yeah,
sideline. And
I want to read it though, because
we'll find it. And here, while you're doing that, there's something else that's going on saying, you see Drake at Raptors games. You see Jack Nicholas at Nicholas at Lakers games. You see all these celebrities and people really get excited when they see them at sporting events. But these few seconds that a woman is on there and has captured a male dominated sport audience, there seems to be more of a ruckus and a ripple. And I think it's a fascinating conversation
okay,
of
so it says your daughters are watching you hate Taylor Swift for supporting her boyfriend and hearing you complain about her taking 60 seconds of airtime out of a 3-hour game. What they hear, be smaller, be less. And then it says do better. So,
she's not even taking 60 seconds. They're saying like 25 seconds. And it's causing such a high level of judgment in individuals. I think there's some underlying issues. You should call me.
here's the thing. Um, I'm going to a Taylor Swift themed Super Bowl party. Okay. We bought our daughter a Swift.
Jealous.
That's another conversation. Love you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
we
done. Mm.
uh, we bought Whitney Kelce jersey that says Swifty on the back. Like I'm
Mhm.
not supportive of like she's so excited about this and she'll show me things or whatever. I'm not eye rolling. I'm not whatever. Like get excited. The kid's 12 years old and she's watching probably her first ever exciting love story play out. Like let her get excited. I'm all about it for sure. But I think it's naive of people to post things like that and to make it once again about women. It's like, oh, here we are, women are victim again. It's like, no, people are just annoyed at this relationship. They don't need to see it everywhere. And when you talked to
That
Jack, hang on. When you talked about Jack Nicholson, they're not talking about Jack Nicholson and some l- young blonde he's got next to him. They're talking about Jack Nicholson, who's one of the best actors of our time, and they're just showing him. This whole obsession isn't about Taylor being at the football game. This is about Taylor and Travis, and a lot of people aren't buying it. That is the issue.
this to me is Taylor at a football game.
No, it's not. The celebrities go to football games all the time. They don't spend that much energy showing them. They just don't. They never
I
have.
I have seen several Vikings games where they have shown Kirk Cousins' wife several times. They have shown some of those backup quarterbacks several times, their wives several times, in a with the intent in my head to show support. I think that is lovely. I think I would want to question, and I'm curious curious
Curious.
about why that would trigger so much to watch a relationship, watch someone supporting their significant other.
Because
For
people
me,
don't
when I
think it's
watch a
real. Because people don't think it's real.
oh,
It's not just because they think Taylor's annoying. Some people, yes, I'm sure they're like, I know people who don't like Taylor, they don't like her music. Everything she does annoys the piss out of them. And like that's different. Like I don't know why people get so triggered about one human being. Like let it go. But um it's not that's not why. It's because of for the average person, it's not because of her. It's because they don't, or this relationship, or it's because it's lovey dovey. It's because they don't think it's real. And it's just further affirmation that the media constantly pummels us with stuff that's not real and lie and twist and try to buy into things for their own benefit.
that's assumed. That's assumed. So
I'm letting you know what that side, like
what
that,
would happen? Okay, okay, people out there that don't believe the authenticity of this, what would happen if the rug is pulled out from underneath you and they're not real? Are you so excited? You're like, yeah, I wasn't fooled. I mean, what do you win out of that? I mean, what's the purpose of being right? What are you worried about?
I don't think it's about being right or wrong. It's about why is so much time and energy spent on uh, trying to pull one over on society for the gain of the higher ups. Because it's just, to so many people, it's another example of this is why people don't trust the media. This is why uh, people are so fed up with Hollywood and all the narratives and all the scripted stories, and people just want what's real and authentic. And to your point, sometimes it is difficult to see if there's, what is real and authentic anymore. But
And
no,
it could be.
yeah, but I think people are talking about it because for anybody who questions the authenticity of it, like myself, it's like, why are they shoving it down our throat so much? It's the same thing. You know how I feel about the whole COVID vaccine. I felt the same way about all of that. If they have to incentivize people by Krispy Kremes and free burgers, which they did, by the way, to get a shot, then I'm sorry, that's going to make me question the shot a little bit. Why are you shoving it down my throat if it's so believable?
And okay, why are they shoving it? Is it the video footage of her at the NFL games
That
or
is
the
one
media
small
scroll?
piece of it. Like I said,
Okay.
$330 million has been made since their relationship. So it is print, it is social media, it is media. If you go to ESPN and Sports Center and see how much they post about their relationship and then read the comments, like people are like, why are you inundating us with this so much? Like how many,
Because
12,
people
13
want to
year old
see it.
girls read the
It's
comments?
probably a little bit of a supply and demand.
Yeah,
People
but if you read the comments, I think the comments will show you otherwise. That's the interesting thing to me, is I think there is this perception that a lot of people, and mind you, this is coming from somebody who spent far too much money on Taylor Swift tickets, who has supported her, listens to her music a lot, loves her music, and still is like, no, no, thanks. I just I don't need that much inundation of any relationship, especially one that I don't buy. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
this is like equivalent to maybe like the royal relationships, right? When Kate and Will got together or Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. There is some, I'm no background in media or television or anything, but there has to be some sort of demand for people that want to see that budding relationship. They're curious about it. And I think that is, I bet you there's more clicks on it. I'm sure the comments are like, please stop showing this. I mean, people are always going to complain more. They're going to be like, I love this, right? That's Yelp reviews. People are going to be more likely to say something negative than go on there and say, oh, yeah, love, love. Um, So I don't know how accurate the comments might portray the supply and how much people want to see it. I think there's a significant amount of influence out there that are like, yeah, I want to
Well, I know
engage.
a lot of people who are into this relationship. I'm not blind to that. Um, what I'm saying is, if you're following Taylor Swift, for instance, or you're following E News because you want to know what celebrities are up to, it makes sense to have those things on there. Great. And I'm sure all the comments are like, yes, this is amazing. But the NFL or Sports Center or ESPN, for people who typically follow that, and they, the comments there are clear. This is not their demographic. Like these are not
Hmm.
50s that are following these accounts typically. And so the comments reiterate, hey, this isn't why I'm following you. This is not the kind of content we want. And it's again and again and again and again. And so
Wait,
it
where are they seeing this content? Where are they seeing this content?
they're like Instagram accounts.
And that's their algorithm. If they're seeing content, if they're not looking at it and they don't care,
No, no,
it's
no,
not
no,
it's
no,
not going
no.
to show
I
up.
see my point. It is on
Yeah.
like ESPN, NFL, Sports Center, Instagram accounts. So it is not just
Oh,
like E News that's putting them out. It is on the
sure.
football accounts. And so I'm saying that demographic, people who are following that, which I mean, I follow both, the Swifty and the NFL, but are like, this isn't our bag, man. Like, stop
Okay.
shoving it down our throats. And so I think it goes back to why do you keep inundating us with this? Like, are you trying to get me on board with something? Like, we've told you we don't like it. This isn't our bag. Like, we're here for the football, we're here for the sports. So that's a whole other
It would be
layer.
interesting to see like what we'll take ESPN, how much of their posts or their content are sports related and how much it's Taylor Swift. I wonder if Taylor Swift, the whole relationship grabs our attention more than seeing a Ravens player throw a ball that, I don't really know who's on that team. But everybody does know Taylor Swift, so it's easy to identify. It would be interesting to see what the ratio is there.
Well, it's clearly
Um,
a monetary gain for, all involved.
and what would be the harm of spreading out the demographic of viewers for football? If females are wanting to play football and getting more involved in the sport, what would be so wrong in starting to capture those audience? It goes back to your argument of this is inauthentic, and then they're using that to get the demographic. Like, okay,
I think they can do that. That's just fine. But we saw what happened when Bud Light chose Dylan Mulvaney as their spokesperson. Like, speak to your demographic, or you're probably going to lose part of your demographic. Like, this is not, these are not people who are turning on the football game to watch a blossoming relationship. And sure, maybe some of these accounts got more female followers, but you're losing your tried and true fans who've been there from the beginning, and will watch it when this relationship fizzles, or it's just not. Hang on, or for those of you
I
who can't see Stephanie, the look of disappointment right there was too good, and I need to screenshot it.
this is.
So
I'm so
either
glad
when
you.
this
I'm so glad
relationship
you asked me
fizzles
to have this
or
conversation with you.
something else more interesting comes along, then what? Then,
Then you
so
then they move to that. If you are in love with the sport so much and it's one of your favorite pastimes, this is a blip on the I mean, out of all the teams, there's nothing on my Vikings post about Taylor Swift. I'm not going to stop watching the game because who's somebody that I wouldn't enjoy seeing.
I'm interested to hear this. Yes,
I
who's
know I can't even think of anybody. The first thing that actually popped up was some sort of clown, but like I don't know. I don't know right now who would turn me off so much that I would have to stop watching it.
Fauci?
Like why would people be so, again, I hate to use the word so much, it's overly used, but triggered because of this? Because again, we're going to go round and round in circles because you said they're being inundated with this
Yeah.
relationship and they don't want it.
So I think that's why where I would love for people to come together and understand is because for people who think that this is a real relationship, they can argue that, oh, this is, you're not being supportive of women and you're making women want to feel small. And they can, make a lot of those arguments. And then over here, for people who feel this isn't a real relationship, it's like, stop inundating with us and stop trying us to get us to buy into things. Like, I can see both sides
I
here.
can.
Yeah.
I can.
But
And I didn't understand that there's so much contention between the two.
oh yeah. So
Why aren't we all allowed to have our opinions? Like, okay, I
yeah,
appreciate yours.
I know. I mean, we can sit here and have a half hour conversation on a couple of two people we're never going to meet, because it's fascinating to break down why people get so up in arms about it.
Right.
I mean, I have my own opinion of it, but like I said, I'm going to wear probably something Taylor related at the Super Bowl party. Like, it's not that I don't have any principles. I just like it. It doesn't. It's not going to make or break my life. Like, whatever. Who
No.
cares? There's a zillion more things going on in the world that have my attention than this.
Yes. And I was going to circle back around to that. Is there's other things that we could be having some healthy discussions over. Not you and I. This is fantastic. I want to stay right where we're at. But uh, that I didn't understand that people were arguing because my algorithm's all like hearts and stars in the eyes. That I didn't understand that there was such a push pull here going on.
Yeah, I have both
And
in my algorithm, and one of the ones I know. So House and Habit is one that I follow, and I know a lot of people follow. I think you follow too.
I
Um,
think
she is not a Swifty fan. She finds her annoying, so she has her own bias, which I don't agree with because, yeah, I mean, I think I've watched every Taylor documentary, um, and I like her, but so so then you wonder, okay, well, if you don't like her to begin with, then how much of this is you not liking her? But nonetheless, she goes way into all of the things about this, the things we talked about: 330 million, 20 million by Pfizer to Kelce. And she has received so much hate from a lot of her followers. And then people have unfollowed her and, whatever. And she's just like, wow, like, can't we be adults? And it also goes back to, like, if we think that our opinion is like the only opinion, or maybe
Mhm.
like we can't connect with somebody who has a differing opinion than us, like, wow, I can't imagine what it must be like to live in that delusion of like piousness. Like,
Mhm.
I am completely right, everybody else is wrong. Trust me, I am a sucker for a good love story. I am a hopeless romantic at heart. I would love for this to be a legit relationship. Of course. I want every like love story to come to fruition. I personally don't think it is, you know. I'll be interested to see if they stay together after the presidential election and how
Hmm.
much she will be used in campaigning in the next year.
Who is her? Who does she influence?
I mean, I wouldn't even know her target demographic. It's so many because, like,
Well, right. It's such a wide audience, and I would
yeah,
imagine that it's a younger demographic too. And the older demographic, I mean, there's us. We're young 40s. There could certainly be part of her fan base. However, we're intelligent enough to not be that influenced
right,
by her political stance. I love your music. I love your artistic creativity. It
right.
doesn't mean I need to vote this exact same as you. And there's nothing that we can't help if people are that naive to vote just because their favorite pop star is, right? You're going to vote on your immigration views, your abortion issues, your economic views, not if Taylor Swift is.
Yeah, but imagine how, like you said, she has a lot of young followers. So imagine how many 18-year-olds who are huge Swifties are going to come out. Like, from what I've seen, the
They were
Democratic
already
Party,
that way anyway.
but the Democratic Party is absolutely trying to capture her to get everybody wants a big spokesperson. Like, it's why endorsement deals exist. The Rock was just on a podcast talking about how a certain political party that goes unnamed approached him to run for presidency because of his popularity. Like
Mhm.
it with the day and age that we live in, and with social media, and feeling like we have more of a connection to these mega stars, their uh, their power in swaying opinion is probably far greater than we can appreciate. And so I think that's another thing that just adds to the fuel to a lot of people's fire, is like, okay, well, she's going to be in this high profile relationship, this wonderful love story, and then watch her become part of the campaign trail. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and if whether or not she does.
Mhm.
If she
Mhm.
does, a question, if she does become like an integral part of their campaign, will you think any differently? Or will you just be like, no, I think that's just who she
Do I
is?
think any differently on their relationship?
Yes.
Um,
Ooh, big
I
sigh.
don't know.
Okay.
It
Hmm.
is a big sigh because I would be lying if I said I'm like 75% believing it, 25%. Could
Yeah.
this be something else? Certainly. That's Hollywood's always done that. There's always been pairings where you're like, okay, Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie,
Right. And
let's,
I think
let's
that's
cut
the
the
other
crap.
piece of it too, we didn't even talk about, is that this kind of stuff has been scripted over and over and over again. And so
Mhm.
it's not unlikely for somebody to be like, really though? I mean, you do kind of have a preference for black women, and she's pretty white. Um, yeah,
See, that to me, that falls so like people and I said it doesn't take a lot of digging to find that. Like you're right, Lindsay. There's some other issues that you're needing to look into if you're searching up Travis, I was gonna say Jason, Travis Kelce's dating history, and that it doesn't line up. So clearly A plus B doesn't equal C. People can change, people can evolve. Like I just think that's
yes.
so
And I'm gonna send you
judgmental.
some well,
Let's get
you
curious.
I'm gonna send you some videos from Black voices who are like, "Come on, man. Come on, man." Like, it is so funny. And they talk about, like, he dresses like a black man, like, the man can dress. Holy cow, I'll give him that. He is a good dresser. Um,
Okay.
and he's got, they're saying he's got a black scent, like, that's more part of his culture. And so that this pairing makes it all the more like, that's curious. I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah, he certainly could have been an African American male in a past life, right? We
Uh-huh.
have no idea, and it's still somewhat infused in him. But they also say men usually maybe marry their moms or gravitate towards mom. And I don't know if you've seen Donna Kelsey,
Have,
but
have.
she
Well,
isn't
yeah.
following
They all
his dating
they
history.
also make the joke from one of the Black Voices video I saw. He was like, "Okay, further proof that Kelsey is a black man trapped in a white body. The boy can dress. He's got a black scent. And as soon as he started to come up, he ditched his black girlfriend for a white woman. So there you go. Just proved it." I'll have to send it to you. It's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. My sister, she is also one of those people. She is a white woman trapped or a black person trapped in a white woman's
Oh yeah,
body. Um, doesn't mean her history of dating has been one race or the other. I
oh,
believe
his
that he could be there.
does. His does. Yeah. I mean, his does.
All right. Well, if that is our theory, in we certainly can probably someone could probably break that apart of like someone is allowed to date out of the different race. And
This is coming from audience, by the way, two women who have dated black men before, for the record. So I'm not saying you can't. We have dated black men. I am just saying that it is curious.
yes, they're curious. I lost my train of thought.
You're welcome. What can I say except you're
I think that for the little that I know personally of Travis Kelce, let me take your theory and say, hey, I like to date vibrant individuals. You can't get as vibrant as Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, but it doesn't matter if you are dating a Latino, an Asian, a black, brown, purple, whatever person. You see her on stage, you see how
Stage
captivating.
stage
And
is different. She lives at home with cats, but continue. Not a cat person.
where's my cat? Bring her in. Um, I can't imagine that if a guy who had the opportunity to date someone as driven and just as captivating as she is, wouldn't say, hey, I want to give this a chance. Not, oh, sorry, you don't follow the checklist that I typically would. That is a very outdated way of thinking, an immature way of thinking. And eventually people have to evolve. They have to get a little bit more
Ooh.
mature.
Okay, so outdated and immature, I'm going to argue that to no. This is very much just saying this is his track record, and this is a clear deviation from his track record. And if that were the sole thing, fine, of course. People can date all different kinds of people. However, when you combine it with all of these other curious things, then it gives one pause. And like we said, when relationships get so much publicity, that in and of itself makes me question it. Remember Tom Cruise and Katie Holmes?
Come on.
Okay, that was completely scripted.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan said she literally was offered a like job or role or whatever the case it was to be Tom Cruise's girlfriend. Okay. Lindsay Lohan, this was before she went
Mm-hmm.
batshit crazy. But he wanted a young starlet to be by his side. And Katie Holmes, unfortunately, was the one who fell for it for however long. But yeah, this we know this happens. And so knowing that, I think it's reasonable for anybody to be skeptical of a relationship that's getting so much damn attention.
Right. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the royal family, like Will and Kate and stuff. There's stuff going on behind closed doors. Certainly, that is not what it appears to be in the public eye. Any sort of relationship that has probably that high volume of camera and media, there's so much going behind closed doors. So we don't know, and for us to take time and to wonder, like, is this real or is it not? What a waste. Waste.
Has this been a waste of a 40?
No, this isn't, because the end goal here is that this is love, everybody.
I
When
think
they
what my
invite you to
friends
the
are listening
wedding and
here
I
is that
give
love,
you a peace
true love is
sign, it's true love is blind. True love is blind. What I'm saying is that things, it's there's so much that's happening behind closed doors, and these are things that we need to take. Sorry, we not just me. I take for surface value, right? If you're going to pull the rug from underneath me because you want people to get more COVID shots, because you're going to get a few more Democratic votes, I'm more intelligent than that, right? We have to be more educated than the influence that we have by the pop culture, any sort of media, which I think is something that we both align with.
right. And I think that
Right.
aids to my point is that I, I'm I'm hesitant to buy into anything, any one thing that's been inundating um, all of media across the board, because one has to ask why. Just like a simple question, just why. It if it is going into just the algorithms of like the young audience, or the people who are really excited about this union, fine. It's across everything. So then it begs the question, why? For what purpose? Not everybody is interested in it. If it were fed to just the people who are excited about it, great. That's what algorithms are for. But it's being pummeled into every single news stream. So why? Why?
Why? She's one of the more influential individuals from the past
There you
year.
go. There you go. There you go. And I think
Quit,
that is
quit
what
taking my points and making them yours.
Because she's influential. They know she's influential,
Yes.
and so they're going to grab her for whatever it is that they want to roll out.
Who's they?
The proverbial they, the they that is dictating the narrative that they want, that society is supposed to buy into. The same they that told me I could get a free Krispy Kreme for a COVID vax. The same they that said, um,
What is the benefit for Taylor Swift to be involved with the they?
uh, money, exposure. She
Money?
has money. Okay, but I'm just saying. You asked the benefit. I'm
Exposure?
not saying why would she do it. Here are the benefits. Okay, money, exposure, which yes, she has both of. Uh, influence, power,
She
and
didn't need any of it.
you're totally right. And I think with her, it's less about that and more just about her being extremely naive. I watched her have a conversation with her parents on one of her documentaries about Trump. And she was, well, actually, it was about the governor of Tennessee. And then she was talking about Trump. And then she was starting to cry and say, you know, about the racism and homophobia and stuff. And like, listen, I mean, he's a lot of things. Narcissist, sure. Doesn't have a filter, sure. But like, uh, I was like, honey, you're just really uninformed. Like, that's not the case. Like, you have no idea what he did for the black community while he was in presidency. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm like, I think she's just really naive, and I think this is just like, yeah, okay. I've been fed what everybody has told me about what should happen, who I should back, and I'm gonna do that because that feels like the right thing to do. Is I don't think she's doing it in a maniacal way whatsoever. I think she's just naive.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Um, she could be. She certainly could be. I think there's a lot of people that are starting to be more awakened to different to different political stances that aren't just strictly one box or the other. I think
I
within
hope
the
so.
past, I think within the past 10 years, uh, it's we've all started to open our eyes to both. I'm not saying one or the other, um, because it was very like either you're far this way or you're far this or the other way.
Yeah.
Um, I think we need to allow grace for a lot of people to catch up and have the will or the willingness to look into some of those naive cracks that people don't know about yet. I'm saying I'm one of them too,
I
just
have
especially now in the political season.
I have all the grace except for when you have a huge platform like her and you are entering into publicly backing a politician uh, that has major influence over she's got probably the biggest audience, um, and doing so naively. Like
What
that's
if what if she
reckless
believes in
abandonment.
some of the things that they're doing?
I mean, she can probably believe in some of the things they're doing. I have a hard time thinking anybody is like gung ho wants Biden to be president. I mean, he's two steps away from either a nursing home or a deathbed, unfortunately. But that's the reality. Like he can't speak logically, and people don't like to have these conversations because then as soon as you say something like, well, Trump had some redeeming qualities or Biden's this, then you're far right, whatever, and you're talking about conspiracies. So then you get a label, and then and then you're whatever. Well, that's all bullshit. We're all too smart for that. And I think, to your point, I think a lot of people, and I think just even by House and Habits account alone, who shows equal political coverage of Trump and uh, Kennedy. Okay, Biden's somewhat on there, but he's not really on the campaign trail, so there's not a whole lot to show.
Mhm.
Um, And yeah, I think for how many people are following along, it's like, oh, they're really appreciative to get all of this real information and to become more informed about the behind the scenes and who these people really are. And so, yeah, I guess just for somebody who's going to be in her position, um, I mean, it's just naive to me to take such a public stance on something.
And I get your perspective of enough is enough. We have been taken advantage of for years and years with what we've been exposed to in media. And I don't want to be fooled one more time by something you're offering me. How do we, and again, this is probably for a different podcast, and maybe this is where we end, because how do you start to shift that? Because that's going to be something that would be with you, not just you, forever, of constant, like, enough is enough. Please
Mhm.
give me some authenticity. And that's
I
going to
know.
forever be in us to constantly look at things from a skeptical perspective.
I know when you were talking about uh, shame, first time you wrong me, shame on me,
Shame,
shame on you, second
shame
time.
on you.
Yeah. Do
Shame
you
on
remember
you.
George Bush's? Uh,
No,
I'll send you that clip afterwards. He couldn't get it right. He kept like tripping over his words. This was Junior, and he's like,
senior, I was going to say senior, junior.
Junior, shame on me. And then he was like, "You're not gonna fool me again." He just got like frustrated. Like, you're not gonna fool me again.
That was enough. No more.
Uh,
No more.
True love is blind.
True love is blind. And yeah, there's so much into this. It's interesting how this will all play out. Maybe we'll come back together in at the end of the political, or at the end of the election,
Oh,
and see
yes.
if
Lots to delve into leading up to that. And
by then.
mhm, yeah.
And I think that the fun takeaway for this is to have two opposing views of things. And regardless of what your political stance is, people are going to perceive things differently.
Yeah, and I
And
would encourage Taylor Kelsey haters to let people just enjoy this relationship. Like lean into it if you want, have fun with it. I'm excited to wear something Swifty-ish for the Super Bowl, even though like, in the back of my head I'm like, this is fake. But
we
whatever.
talked a lot about the back of your head today.
I should see
That's
what's
the
going on back
title of this podcast is the back of Lindsay's head. It's a mystery.
uh, and then I would encourage others to recognize this isn't just like men denigrating women again, which, sorry, that just like, I can see how somebody can pull that out of it, but it's like, okay, how did we make this about like, how can I pull victim mentality out of this something else? Like, no, this is a lot bigger than that. Think of all like
Well,
appreciate that people feel this is scripted for a lot of valid reasons, and you can agree to disagree, and you can enjoy the Super Bowl for whatever purpose you're watching it for, and
halftime show.
eat some
Oh,
eat some brown sugar bacon wrapped weenies. That's what I'm gonna make.
yeah. I'm gonna be getting my usher on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, yes, I hope people reduce judgment from this because that really will take your vibration down. And I know that you've talked about energy and vibes on here, but when you sit in judgment, and I think that's a little bit about what that post is, that Facebook post of what kids might be seeing is you being critical of another human that's just living,
Yeah, that's fair.
doing their thing. They're observing that.
Yeah.
And that's really what's gonna lower you. You're not gonna be in this happy, excited, peaceful spot in your life if you're gonna sit there and judge what's happening on the screen or what's happening to people that you don't even know.
Yeah, just wherever you fall, just enjoy the game if you're watching it, and if you're not, then you know have fun doing whatever.
Who do you want to win? Let's
Well, 49ers. I mean, I'm a big underdog gal. I feel like the Chiefs, completely unrelated, but I feel like the Chiefs have um, a higher chance. I think they're favored to win, if I recall.
Okay.
I could be talking on my ass. I don't really know, but I do have a Super Bowl jacket from last year that Gary and I bought when we were in Arizona, and it's really cute. And it is like it was when the Chiefs were in it.
Hmm.
So I mean,
It
my
applies. It applies.
it's teal and like ivory and I don't know, like a reddish color. It's so great. It's one of those like letter jackets. You
Yeah.
remember what it looks like, I think.
Yeah, Frank, you were there. Um,
So,
uh,
I
yeah.
know. I like how you asked, who do you want to win? And I right away went into what I'm wearing. Um,
I actually appreciated that answer way better than a or a short version. I
I don't,
wanted the Lions to win. They're not in it.
yeah.
Um, I so it's interesting because I always say like I want this team to win, then all of a sudden subconsciously I start cheering for the other team. That happened to me last game. But I do like Christian McCaffrey on the 49ers. And I do see him and his girlfriend a lot on my feed as well, or his fiance, I should say.
Okay.
And I'm not going to open up this Pandora's box again, but we did see a lot of Giselle. We saw a lot of Giselle and Tom Brady. Was
Yeah.
it because they were married?
Married. She's a super
She
mom.
got a lot of criticism too.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember what her criticism was about, but have you seen his before and after pictures from before
Oh,
she got a hold of his diet? It's like insane. He reversed age like 20 years.
oh, yeah, like from his younger years to what he
Yeah,
is now. Yeah,
it's wild.
right. Have you done one of those pictures where it like morphs him each year? I've
What?
seen one of those.
Oh,
You
maybe.
send me the George Bush Jr. quote, and I'll send you
Of
Tom
course.
Brady morphing into Benjamin Button.
Perfect. All right. Well,
Go
this
love.
yeah, this was fun. So
Why you
steps
gotta
to
be
love.
so
I'm team
mean?
critical thinking. Keep your eyes open.
I'll be texting you at your little party. Do you see that I minimized it? Your little
Yeah,
party.
yeah. That'll be another conversation. Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see you on New Year's. Super Bowl's coming. What's happening? Okay.
I used to run the table there. That's why I don't get invited.
Mm,
All right, well, enjoy.
okay.
Can't wait to see Tay Tay.
All right. Hearts. Tay Tay hearts.
13. Let's quickly just do all the Taylor Swift analogies.
Oh yeah,
I gotta
I didn't even
go. I
talk
got
about the
the
number ones. I'm okay. I'm not going to get into that. But there's all kinds of conspiracies that have to do with their numbers too. And then there's flights that have been booked, like
yeah, for 1989.
yeah, 1989 and da da da. So,
That's
anyways,
other brands hopping on the bandwagon.
oh, totally, I get that. That's not even a conspiracy. That's them capitalizing. So
Yeah,
I get it. All right, love you, dear. Thank you.
love
This
it
was
too.
fun.
This was funny. Bye.
Bye.